Headlines of VTV News. Homeland Spring Program 2024 Gala takes place in Ho Chi Minh City. Promoting administrative reforms to serve people and businesses better. And later on in our world news, North Korea fires multiple cruise missiles off West Coast.
Broadcasting from Hanoi, the capital of Vietnam. VTV News starts right now.
Hello, it's 8 a.m. local time, and you are tuning in for 30 minutes of VTV News, broadcast live from Hanoi. You're with me, Lina Pham. State President Võ Văn Thưởng and overseas Vietnamese from around the world attended the Homeland Spring Program 2024 Music Gala in Ho Chi Minh City on Friday night. Speaking at the event, the state president emphasized that the party and state always care about and consider the Vietnamese community abroad an inseparable part of the nation. He also emphasized that Vietnam will become a developed and high-income country by 2045. He said that overseas Vietnamese play a great role in realizing this goal, along with the entire party's and people's efforts. He hoped the great national unity bloc would grow stronger, the country would prosper more, and the Vietnamese would always be happy at home and abroad. 100 overseas Vietnamese from various fields met with state leaders and officials and visited Ho Chi Minh City to learn about the city's development during the 2024 Homeland Spring Program. Regardless of age or background, the overseas Vietnamese were very touched and wished to contribute more to the country's development.
Vietnam's metro system is clear evidence of the country's development. I see the country's change every time I come back. This is a great opportunity for overseas Vietnamese, including Japan, to invest in Vietnam.
I find this to be an extremely meaningful and necessary activity because it connects overseas Vietnamese worldwide. Each of us is a small part of the community that aims to develop the country in the future. I will always nurture my desire to contribute to Vietnam.
And what's the reason for me to be back here? So I say is to tighten the country to countries, to tighten the communities. As a member of the parliament, I'm proud to say that I have Vietnamese blood in my vein, in my life, and I wouldn't come this far. I wouldn't be this fighter as if I'm not have Vietnamese blood in my vein.
Language is the bridge that connects Vietnamese with their overseas counterparts. Therefore, every parent and child should try to preserve the beauty of the Vietnamese.
I want to return to Vietnam often because I have family here. Màu đỏ da vàng tôi là người Việt Nam, dù đi Nam Châu cho dù về nơi đâu, trong trái tim này cùng hát trong câu Việt Nam.
In celebration of the Lunar New Year 2024, State President Võ Văn Thưởng attended the State Reunion Spring Gratitude Program in Thủ Đức, Ho Chi Minh City. More in the following.
This yearly program is organized by trade unions to give workers a joyful and warm date. State President Võ Văn Thưởng spoke highly of Ho Chi Minh City for initiating many practical and effective social security movements. The state leader also thanked the Vietnam Fatherland Front and the Vietnam General Confederation of Labor for organizing meaningful programs for workers during this time.
Many workers across the country, especially in the central and western regions of Vietnam, have contributed to the development of Ho Chi Minh City. However, I understand that many cannot afford to go back home and have to stay in the city to work. Therefore, I'm glad the city's leaders joined hands to take care of workers during this occasion so everyone can have tech gifts.
The state president also visited and inspected the readiness of the Ho Chi Minh City's police. He asked the Municipal Department of Public Security to ensure social security, safety, and order in the city in all circumstances. The state leader added that attention should be paid to improving the quality and effectiveness of the fight against crime, especially new types of crime and fraud using sophisticated tricks. Inspecting the readiness of fire prevention, firefighting, and rescue force, State President Võ Văn Thưởng requested that officers and soldiers ensure high levels of readiness and be present at incident scenes in the shortest time possible to handle and minimize damage to people and property promptly. The state president also visited Professor Dr. Nguyễn Trấn Hùng, who is a reputable scientist, a leading medical expert in cancer prevention, and former chair of Vietnam Cancer Association, and people's artist Kim Cương, a renowned and talented artist in Vietnam's theater industry.
Prime Minister Phạm Minh Chính has asked ministries and sectors to develop supportive policies for cooperatives to drive comprehensive innovation, including specific mechanisms for mobilizing and using capital. He said these policies will help create opportunities and motivation for the collective economic sector and cooperatives to obtain sustainable and comprehensive development. The Prime Minister requested this at a forum on economic cooperation and cooperatives held in Hanoi on Friday. He assigned 8 tasks to ministries, branches, and localities to support the collective economy. He affirmed that the government always encourages and provides the best conditions in line with legislation for the collective economy and cooperatives to develop quickly, sustainably, inclusively, and comprehensively to contribute to national socio-economic development. Prime Minister Phạm Minh Chính, head of the government's Administrative Reform Steering Committee, chaired the 7th meeting of the Steering Committee to summarize work in 2023 and outline tasks for 2024.
In 2023, administrative reform received great attention from the government and the Prime Minister and changed drastically. 628 business regulations have been reduced and simplified, while the reform of the civil service has been launched. The disbursement of public investment capital reached $27.7 billion, 95% of the planned figure. While acknowledging the achievements of the administrative reform in 2023, Prime Minister Pham Minh Chinh pointed out some shortcomings and emphasized a number of viewpoints, directions, and 6 key focus areas for this year.
We should promote administrative reform, which is key to the country's development. Make people and businesses the center of this reform. Moreover, administrative reform in all 6 areas should be promoted. The first is institutional reform, which must remove difficulties for production and business. Administrative procedure reform needs to be simplified and can reduce input costs for people and businesses. The third is to reform the organization of the state administrative apparatus. Fourth is reforming the civil service and strengthening administrative discipline. Fifth is public finance reform, focusing on increasing revenue, reducing expenditure, and fighting corruption in the use of public finance. Sixth is building and developing e-government and digital government.
The Prime Minister also assigned ministries and branches to research and review conditional business lines, proposed to remove them from the list of business lines subject to conditional investment, recommend the abolition of business conditions that are illegal, unnecessary, and unfeasible, and consolidate legal documents and codes to ensure the transparency and accessibility of the legal system.
2 books by Party General Secretary Nguyễn Phú Trọng have been published by the Sự Thật or Truth National Political Publishing House. Turning challenges into opportunities with determinations to create breakthroughs for the country's rapid and sustainable development is a selection of the General Secretary's speeches, articles, interviews, letters, and telegrams from April 2021 to December 2022. In the context of the COVID-19 pandemic, with the party's strategic direction, people overcame difficulties. They quickly implemented the resolution of the 13th Party Congress determined to turn challenges into opportunities. Meanwhile, building a clean and strong party and political system contributing to the successful implementation of the resolution of the 13th Party Congress comprises the General Secretary's speeches, articles, interviews, letters, and telegrams in 2023. The General Secretary's 2 books are valuable documents for all levels, sectors, localities, and party organizations to successfully implement the resolution of the 13th Party Congress. Coming up next, Phu Quoc welcomes over 1,000 foreign tourists. And village elders contribute to protecting Central Highlands. You're watching VTV News. If you visit any supermarket in Vietnam, you will easily notice significant changes in the packaging of traditional agricultural products and specialties. This is one of the factors that enables traditional agricultural products and specialties to meet the growing demands of consumers. As date approaches, traditional craft villages also increase their productivity to meet the bustling market demand before the grand holidays.
This young lady is purchasing ingredients to prepare a traditional date feast. She prefers to shop at supermarkets because they offer a wide selection of local specialties.
I'm also interested in traditional products such as chung cake, fermented pork, spring rolls, and other ingredients to make a decent Tet feast. Supermarket chains have all I need. I consider it time-saving and quite convenient.
Chung cakes, vermicelli, bamboo shoots, and many other OCOP products have been imported more recently through this retail system. In recent days, the number of customers has increased 2 to 3 times compared to usual.
We are working with suppliers and giving priority to local products such as sausages and agricultural products like vermicelli, bamboo shoots, and mushrooms.
Vietnamese goods dominate the market during this time of the year. We have also found out that 100% of the goods participating in the Tet Market Stabilization Program are Vietnamese products. Due to favorable policies, traditional products have also accessed modern distribution systems.
In the near future, the Ministry of Industry and Trade plans to introduce rural products and local specialties to large distribution systems nationwide. The goal is to make these products more easily accessible to consumers.
The Italian-flagged Costa Serena cruise ship carrying over 1,000 foreign tourists docked on the southern island of Phu Quoc on Friday. After completing immigration procedures, the visitors visited famous destinations on the island, such as Cầu Hôn Kissing Bridge and Grand World Phu Quoc, and shopped for local specialties and souvenirs at Phu Quoc Night Market. Kiên Giang province is projected to welcome more than 790,000 visitors in January. To meet the demand of international visitors arriving by sea, the Phu Quoc International Passenger Port is expected to be put into operation this year. The port can handle 5-star cruise ships carrying about 3,000 to 4,000 passengers. For many modern families, the tradition of wrapping chung cake before date holiday is hindered by limited time and resources. This challenge is even greater for Vietnamese families living abroad. In order to help Vietnamese children who were born and raised in foreign countries understand the traditions of their homeland, many parents in Belgium have organized a chung cake wrapping session. This gathering not only brings the Vietnamese community together in anticipation of date holiday, but also attracts the interest of many curious Belgians. Belgians.
This is the first time Dennis and Christophe have learned the proper way to wrap a traditional chin cake, with step-by-step guidance from local Vietnamese. These Belgians experienced genuine joy and excitement while participating in this age-old tradition.
My girlfriend is convincing me to make the cake as well, but I'm not sure. It looks pretty difficult. Last year we also went to a TED festival here in Brussels, and it was a nice event, so I'm open to coming.
Well, at first I doubted if I would be able to do it, but we got some clear instructions and we followed the steps very carefully, and then the result is actually very nice.
The chin cake wrapping section serves the purpose of not only helping native Belgians gain a better understanding of Vietnamese culture, but also fostering solidarity among Vietnamese, Belgian, and Indian communities residing here. For Vietnamese individuals, the ultimate objective is to preserve and promote authentic Vietnamese culture.
I have learned how to make chung cake and experienced what it feels like to immerse yourself in a cozy atmosphere. This is the first time I have participated in activities like this with my children. They should know their own culture and traditions.
A total of 140 chin cakes were wrapped and cooked after the busy session. This batch of chin cake was then donated to Vietnamese people facing difficult circumstances in Belgium, symbolizing a gesture of compassion and care.
To ensure that no one is left behind, localities across the country are making preparations for the Lunar New Year, also known as State Holiday. These activities aim to benefit disadvantaged families and communities of ethnic groups. Our report from Quảng Ngãi Province.
Đinh Thị Điểm and her family members are Kazong ethnic people living in Sơn Tây District, Quảng Ngãi Province. Due to their difficult circumstances, they are unable to afford Tet goods. However, they are grateful for the support they receive from local authorities, social organizations, and the Vietnam Fatherland Front.
We are so poor, we can't afford to have a cozy Tet on our own. When I received these gifts today, I knew Tet had come for my family.
Quảng Ngãi Province has allocated over $1.3 million from its local budget to purchase state gifts and commodities for poor households and ethnic groups. With additional donations from businesses and benefactors, disadvantaged families can look forward to a warm and joyful Tet celebration.
In addition to financial assistance, the Standing Committee of the Provincial Party Committee has also placed great importance on providing emotional support, ensuring a warm and happy Tet for the people.
Quảng Ngãi Province has provided support to more than 23,600 poor households and 19,200 near-poor households in the region. Batches after batches of Tet goods have been delivered to all beneficiary households, ensuring that no one is left behind.
Village heads, elders, and prestigious villagers are role models for others in ethnic communities. Therefore, they are considered a special force that keeps ethnic people engaged in implementing the government's order. Our report is from the Central Highlands, which is home to thousands of prestigious villagers in ethnic groups.
As Tet approaches, local police, border soldiers, and villagers gather to make chung cakes. As ethnic people improve their living standards, they can celebrate Tet as the kin people do.
Local police and soldiers are always aware of their duties. They have tried their best to ensure peace and security for people. As they celebrate Tet with us, we're very happy.
In Đắk Nông, the Trang Long is the best, as he protects our village and the motherland.
The Central Highlands is home to nearly 6 million people from 54 ethnic groups with diverse cultural backgrounds. Village heads, village elders, and religious dignitaries have made great efforts to maintain social security and order, thereby contributing to political stability in the region. There are also key factors that raise ethnic people's awareness about the government's laws and regulations, as well as strengthen solidarity among ethnic groups.
All ethnic people in the Central Highlands are members of a big family. We have worked closely with the local police and religious dignitaries. True happiness comes from a peaceful country with guaranteed social order and security.
Thì mong là thời gian tới thì ông già tiếp tục phát huy, đóng góp cho địa phương, rồi giúp đỡ lực lượng công an, ông già nghe.
Chúc mừng năm mới!
village heads, elders, and prestigious villagers are pioneers in implementing new approaches to boost economic development and help others improve their living standards. When thinking outside the box, ethnic people can preserve their cultural identity, eliminate harmful practices, and change their lives.
More than 1 billion people worldwide depend on wetlands for their livelihoods, about 1 in 8 people on Earth. Meanwhile, wetlands are among the ecosystems with the highest decline, loss, and degradation rates in Vietnam, with about 200,000 hectares of mangroves, most growing in conservation areas and national parks. Many localities have tried to preserve and promote the value of wetlands. Our report from Thái Bình Province.
Thanks to the sustainable exploitation of coastal resources in mangrove forest, local farmers near Thái Thuy Wetland Nature Reserve have improved their income.
We can earn a stable income by catching fish while protecting the mangrove forest. We established a team to patrol the forest around the clock.
Previously, mangroves covered only a few dozen hectares. As locals were encouraged to grow mangroves to protect coastlines, the area of mangrove forests has expanded yearly.
The coastal wetlands in Thái Thuy district are rich in biodiversity and were recognized as wetlands of national and international importance. The management board of the Thái Thuy Wetland Nature Reserve has worked closely with local authorities to strengthen the protection of mangroves and help locals maintain their livelihoods.
The Thái Thuy Wetland Nature Reserve has a rich biodiversity. To preserve local wetlands, we will continue coordinating with related agencies to map out and implement biodiversity management programs in the future. In addition, we will provide training for locals to keep them engaged with the conservation of flora and fauna.
Coastal wetlands sequester carbon up to 55 times faster than tropical rainforests. Wetlands contain about 12% of the global carbon pool, therefore creating livelihoods for locals and increasing their participation in mangrove forest protection should be prioritized. This way, localities can protect and promote the value of wetlands to benefit communities.
Coming up next, North Korea fires multiple cruise missiles off West Coast. And U.S. approves $4 billion drone sale to India. North Korea fired multiple cruise missiles off its west coast on Friday, South Korea's military said, marking the 4th time in just over a week that Pyongyang has launched such missiles. South Korea's military said the launch took place at around 11 a.m. local time, but did not provide further details. The latest launch took place just 3 days after North Korea tested a newly developed submarine-launched strategic cruise missile in the East Sea. According to experts, cruise missiles are capable of precision strikes at close range, but very difficult to intercept by air and missile defenses. South Korea's military is closely coordinating with the U.S. to maintain heightened vigilance and surveillance. The Biden administration on Thursday approved a nearly $4 billion sale of drones and military equipment to India. The approval comes at a time when Washington is courting New Delhi to increase its cooperation with the U.S. Indo-Pacific strategy. The U.S. State Department notified Congress of selling 31 MQ-9B armed drones. The sale will include 31 Sky Guardian drones, 170 Hellfire missiles, 310 small diameter bombs, and related support material. These proposed sales is expected to bolster India's capability to meet current and future threats by enabling uncrewed surveillance and reconnaissance patrols in sea lanes. The sale marks a milestone in Indian purchases of American weapons. Germany is testing a 4-day work week to determine if it can improve productivity while keeping employees healthier and happier. The program addresses the shortage of skilled workers in the labor market. The 6-month program, which started on February the 1st, will grant hundreds of employees a day off every week while keeping them on full pay. About 45 companies in Germany will trial a 4-day work week to measure any productivity gains from working fewer hours. Advocates argue that a 4-day work week would increase worker productivity and, as a consequence, help alleviate the country's skilled labor shortage. Previously, the UK, South Africa, Australia, Ireland, and the US launched similar tests. However, there are many doubts about productivity, creativity, and the ability to concentrate when working fewer hours. A simple blood test is being used to detect brain tumors, according to UK cancer researchers. The test could dramatically simplify the diagnosis of brain cancers, especially in patients whose tumors can't be easily accessed for biopsies, the most common way of confirming a diagnosis.
A study on brain cancer tumours by researchers at Imperial College London involved 31 patients who presented with symptoms associated with brain cancers. These included headaches, dizziness, and weakness on the side of the body. The test was able to detect 99% of the cancers, and it was 100% accurate in being able to detect which type of cancer it was. Months after they were married, Sarah Freeman's husband was diagnosed with glioblastoma in February 2022. He died just 10 months later, the following December.
That period of time, when I reflect on it, was probably one of the most difficult periods of his illness, just because of that feeling of not knowing what was going to happen. So I think if there were a way to speed up diagnosis, I just think that would be emotionally a lot easier for patients and for the people that love them to not have to spend so much time kind of essentially in the dark.
40% of patients won't be able to have a surgical biopsy for a couple of reasons. One of those is the location of the brain tumour. It's in an area of the brain that it's just too risky for the neurosurgeon to access. And it's absolutely this group of patients for whom this test currently is going to really make a difference.
Currently in the UK, surgery is one of the main treatments for brain and spinal cord tumours. Surgery can be undertaken to diagnose or treat the tumour, but it is a major operation and it's not suitable for everyone, especially patients whose tumours are growing in an inaccessible part of the brain. Researchers hope easier detection will make diagnosis and treatment much quicker and less traumatic for patients.
And up next is the weather forecast. And that's it for this edition of VTV News. Thank you very much for watching. To rewatch our program, you can download VTVgo from App Store or Google Play, or tune in our YouTube channel at youtube.com/VTV4go. See you again at 3 p.m. local time. Goodbye for now.